Good evening and welcome back to the Mindful Model Makers Workshop. Now, I've just moved up to Lincolnshire and we now have a nice sized garden, and in that garden I'm going to build a garden railway. The track that I'm going to use, I'll show you a piece of that. It's going to be 45mm track. It's made in China, this track, and it's available on eBay. The name of it escapes me at this moment in time, but I will tell you. But you'll see it on there. They do make a metal and they make a plastic. Now, the reason I'm going to do is because the track's not going to be electrified. All of the locos are going to have their own onboard power units, either with just a simple on-off forward and reverse switch, or maybe a variable speed controller, or they will use a Loco remote radio control system, which is controllable by using your mobile phone. Which, if you go back and see some of my previous videos, you'll see this Loco being constructed and run. And inside there is a small radio control chip which picks up on my phone, and I've got full control over that, forward, reverse, slow, fast, up to the speed that it goes. Obviously it's not going to go very fast because it's a narrow gauge railway, and they used to just trundle around with just a few trucks. So that's what I'm going to be building, and that's going to be a big project. And how I'm going to build this garden railway is different. I'm not going to disclose exactly what I'm doing at this moment because I haven't finalised, but I know the track I'm using. So this will be fixed down, probably glued down, ballasted, and that's it. And of course it's going to be hopefully durable because it's plastic. Don't 100% like the clips that clip it together, but I think we'll just wear that. We can probably lose some of that with the ballasting. Anyway, these ones I bought second hand on eBay, and somebody has actually sprayed the silver on them. But it might pay you to paint the actual rails, either a dirty colour, rusty kind of colour on the side. But I've gone for this because this is going to be 100% hopefully weatherproof. And because it's not having any electric running through the track, it doesn't need anything other than that. Then these are quite cheap. Some of these, I think the small curves are something like £2.50 each. The straights are a little bit dearer, £3 something. So it's probably about the cheapest 45mm track that there is out there. And if you type that in on eBay, you will find it. They do a version with, I think it's a nickel silver rails, if you're going to put current through. But this is the track that I'm going to use. They do points. The curves are not too steep, so you can run reasonable size. So I am building, mainly it's going to be P.S.models, which is a guy called Phil Sharples. Look him up. He has his own website. I got a feeling he is on. I've done some various bits and pieces with his stuff, and he's on Facebook. I think he's got a Facebook group as well. He's got quite a following. He's probably one of the cheapest garden railway companies, so that you could use to get started. So if you've got a limited budget, or you just don't want to spend a lot of money, and you make something like this. I mean, this, believe it or not, is all made out of this laser cut MDF. Okay, and you can see the build on this from start to this point, and you can actually see it running with the Loco remote in down to one of the railways that I belonged to at the time. I mean, the thing is, I've moved away from that now, but the idea, if I get my own railway running, you will see it running on there. So that's one of the locos that will be. Now, probably also Loco remote, they do a 3D printed track. But I've decided I want to run this because I also got some gauge 1 stuff, and of course the gauge 1 is set to run on 45mm track, but so will this. So this will sit on 45mm track, so that's what it looks like on the track. So, you know, it looks okay. So that's one of the locos that I've got built to go on there. I have a live steam loco that's 45mm. that will go on there as well. A little bit perhaps overscaled to go with this. So I'm going to build a lot of stuff that will run together. This is all dirtied up, by the way. So you'll see I've added some extra detail to it. The rivets, you'll actually see the rivets on one of my previous videos. I don't want to keep going over and over the same thing. If the videos are already made, if you look back through the garden railway stuff, you'll see it. It's on there, and how I built various different bits of this Loco. But this is fully radio controlled. With quite a range as well, and I've had this running on a very big track, so there we are. So that's that model. I think it was around about 40 something pounds. Say it might have been 45, it could have been 48, but it's around about that. I mean, that's for the Loco. I get it's probably another 40 odd pound for the radio control bit, but less than £100, and you've got a fully radio controlled garden railway Loco. Well, if anyone's getting into this hobby and they start looking around at the price of some of the steam locos, even some of the diesel locos are getting up towards 1,000. Steam locos well over that. You can get some just under. But yeah, if you really want to start. So that's what I'm going to do. So that's the project from now and for a long time. Now, this is another Loco, and this is one of P.S.models, or Phil Sharple's models, and this is the instruction sheet for it. This is the box car. Again, I think that's still shown on his, I think that's around about 40 something pounds, say 45, somewhere between 45 and 48 pounds. And that makes into a Loco. It's got a hole there in the middle for the motor to go in. So this is how it comes in the plastic bag. You've got the motor, you've got a little battery holder for 2 AA batteries. Then the motor will take up to 6 volts. You get the wheels, you get the bearings, you get washers, you've got the plastic roof, you get every single piece. And even in there, there's some mesh for the radiator grill, which goes at the front. Because if you look on this picture here, you'll see it is painted yellow. It's got like a radiator with a proper grill, and there's an exhaust to go on. I think it's a 3D printed. I think there's 1 or 2 3D printed parts that come with this particular model. So I will have a Loco remote radio control system put inside this. It's dual gauge, so you can do it at 45mm, or if you want to stick with 16mm, which is O gauge track, you can use old O gauge track if you really want to. A little bit rickety, but if you fix it down, make sure it's seeing it will run on it. Because don't forget, with narrow gauge stuff, you don't want it to look quite smooth, because if you go to a real narrow gauge railway, you'll see that it is a bit rickety. So there we are. But that's the instructions. There's 2 sheets. I'm going to start making this and video this at the same time, so that you'll be able to see. So there you can see the actual frame that goes down underneath this, the actual chassis with the motor and the cogs. You can 4-wheel drive, because you can buy a 4-wheel drive kit, which is just basically a rubber band that goes between the 2 axles, and it just gives you a little bit more power, especially if you've got slight gradients in your railway. So you can upgrade this to run 4-wheel drive, which is quite easy. I haven't done it on this, but one of the Locos that I built, which is a Loco remote one, I did, and that's also one of my videos on here. It's on a little micro layout, the smallest layout you'll ever see, and that's 16mm, and that has got the belt drive on that to make it 4-wheel drive, and it gives it just a bit more oomph. You don't need a lot, because these Locos won't have rakes and rakes of wagons in real life. They would only pull, I don't know, half a dozen maybe, because they only small horsepower engines in them in real life. So you sometimes see layouts with big hauling loads and loads of wagons, but that didn't tend to happen so much in real life. But anyway, this is a really dirty looking loco, because that's how a lot of these narrow gauge things were. So this box car that I'm going to build is like that. And then I've bought 2 coach kits. These were £16 each, these coach kits. Now you can see the quality of the sides. It's all, they make up really nice. You can glaze that if you want to. You can put a couple of people inside. You can get the figures quite easily. And I've got going to have 2 coaches that will go on to that. So there we are. That's the Loco there. So that is the front of the Loco, and you can see you've got handrails and various other bits and pieces that come with it. You can see the bits there, the radiator housing, which is there, the radiator grill, and then you've got handrails, and then you've got the exhaust that will go on. And of course you can add, and you can see how nice the roof is, where it's got the formers, a bit like the old Kelcraft aircraft inside there. You've got the formers that you put in first, and then you can just gently glue your roof across. I mean, I've made up a very simple thing for doing the roof. It's just a flat board with 2 pieces up, the right width, and you just push it in and it will curve the roof for you. That's another way you do it. Or you can just do it like this, get the glue, get it to set on one bit more glue, and then just gently bring it round. A little bit of patience and you'll have that looking quite smart. So yeah, they're very good locos. Just the basic you can have is just the 2 batteries connected to the motor, and there's a switch, and that all comes with it. It's just a simple on-off switch. There's no reverse, but you can make a motor go in reverse by having a double pole, double throw switch, which you can buy, and you can just wire that. So one way you switch it to go forward, and the other middle will normally be off, and the other way you'll switch it and it will go backwards. So that is a very simple thing. There are other companies out there that do a very simple speed controller, again with a forward and reverse, so you can just do forward and reverse and use the speed controller if that's how you want to do it. It doesn't have to be radio controlled, because it does add about another 40 odd pounds. The batteries are quite cheap. They're LiPo batteries. I've got some up here. Again, Loco Remote, if you go to Loco Remote, he will tell you about this. This comes with 4 batteries, a battery charger, and these are the 3.7 volt LiPos that go, so inside here, because this back bit comes off, inside there is where the LiPo battery goes. So I've made it so that that comes off. And just push it back in and then put the back on, and then you can run the Loco. So it just makes it easy to do. The actual radio control is all fitted inside this bit. I don't really want to take that off now, but it does come off. That just pulls up, and the radio control unit, which is not much bigger, is a bit smaller than this battery actually, perhaps a tiny bit thicker, but smaller in size than what the battery is. So these are LiPo batteries, and you will be surprised how long they actually last. So that's what I'm going to do on all of these Locos. So I'm going to get another Loco Remote later on and install in here. It's very simple to put in, and it's very simple to set up on your mobile phone. With the Loco Remote, you can go over to Loco Remote website now, and you can see, and all the downloadable instructions are on there, and also how to program in on your phone the actual controls. So you can also, he does, for very simple locos like this, right up to, I'm building a class 33 which has got 4 motors in, and I've actually got one that would run them 4 motors if I wanted to. There's a hell of a lot more money, but it is a system which is good and easy to control. in that class 33. That probably won't be the system I will actually use, because I've found another one as well, but I will build something that's bigger, and I can use that system in it. So this is what's going to be happening now over the next few weeks. And of course, those other people that watch my videos regular will know that I'm building this Airfix 4-stroke engine, and that will be being done in between. But now the concentration is on building this garden railway, because I can start building some rolling stock, and then I will start going outdoors and showing you the area where this railway is going to be built. And once I've got a couple of bits ready, I will show you how I intend building it, because it's going to be different to a standard either on the ground or raised up on a wooden system. A lot of people use decking with roofing felt across it to protect it and all the rest. But this is going to be different, because I'm going to build it in such a way that it's going to have buildings, and it's also going to have plants and various other small trees and things that are going to go with it at the same time. So that's the next bits that we're going to do. So anyway, so we're going to have this boxcar loco with 2 coaches. I've also got 4, I believe, slate wagons to go with this one, which I bought some time ago. So they will be the main 2 locos to start with that's going to run on this railway, and you'll be able to see that. So they will be basically the test locos that I will use when I build each bit. So if you carry on watching and subscribe, you'll see the whole thing starting to come to life. So this is a completely up to scratch railway that's starting from nothing. There's nothing. All there is at the moment is a concrete slab, which I would imagine used to house a shed. So the railway is going to be built on that. But you can see this is lovely stuff. And you can see when I built this how I done it and how I painted it, because when you come to paint some of these edges, you need to do different things with it in order to get the paint to adhere to it, because for some unknown reason it doesn't stick. The paint doesn't stick to the burnt bit so well. But anyway, there is a video on my channel that you can watch to see how that's done. But anyway, we're going to have the coaches, and we're going to have this as the main, say, passenger, and this one at the moment as a freight loco, but they can all do whatever. Sometimes you can have a passenger coach in with a couple of freight wagons behind. So the thing is, with a narrow gauge railway, if you decide to go narrow gauge, you'll find that there are some really obscure looking locos. So you could just make something off the top of your head, and it would still fit in, because there doesn't seem to be any kind of rules to what you have. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing from now on, is starting to build this garden railway. And I will do an outside bit just to show you where the railway is going to start from. I've got no idea where it's going to end up. I think my wife is worried that it might take up the whole garden. I don't think it will, because I want to keep it relatively small and relatively self-contained, to have lots of little shunting things going on. So you need to be reasonably close. So you can have a bit where you can have something just running round, and have something else where it's doing all the work. So you could have a passenger one that's running around through stations. I would like 2 or 3 stations at least on it, and a reason for the railway being there, industrial wise, i.e. a little quarry, sand, something. I'm not sure what yet, but you need a reason. I mean, railways were built for a reason, especially narrow gauge, and most of it was moving stuff from one place to another. Coal, sand, slate, whatever really. So that's what we'll build as we're going along. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video as we start to construct all of this. It'll all be step by step, so you'll be able to see how it's done. A lot of this stuff is on YouTube, and it's all out there. If you go on to P.S.models, go on to their website and you'll see the models, and there are photos on there of what people have sent in of what they've done, to various bits and pieces. And yeah, if you haven't got a lot of money and you want to build something small in the garden, then I think this is about the cheapest way you're ever going to do it. Yeah, so anyway, please subscribe, please like if you do, and please comment, because if I can find out the information to give you an answer, then I will do so. Anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.